Time for us to check in on the voicemail of truth and reason. This one, a Browns voicemail of truth and reason, and let's listen in.
Thinking about the situation the Browns are in right now, with the fact that to get people to come to the Browns, we had that, and this is in years past, we had to overpay them. But now we don't. This is now a place where people want to come to play. But and I was thinking about the free agents we have to sign, and of course you want to sign Nick Chubb, for whatever $15 million a year because he's worth it, and then you go on to to Teller, and I think Teller is more important than someone than Landry, and Teller's going to want a lot of money. He's going to want $15 million a year. But I think think about touches though. The offensive line is involved in every play. And if they screw up, your offense is built on a foundation of sand, not very good. So I would sign Teller, and and if that meant trading Landry, I think we should do it. We're loaded with possession receivers. And yes, it's harsh to get rid of Landry. He's a really good player, but, if you want to win in the future, what do you guys think? Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, Jeff. Not in a hurry to get rid of Jarvis Landry. There is a lot of money tied up in the wide receiver position. I think it's a very valid point about the offensive line. I don't know that the right guard, who came out of nowhere, is somebody that you're going to pay $12, $13 million a year. But you might. I mean, those are the decisions that Andrew Berry's going to have to make.
I know Wyatt Teller played well. He played well. I mean, you could watch in a game and see that he was doing his job. But didn't you get the feeling, Dave, that maybe his uncle ran Pro Football Focus or something because they had him graded so high every week? It's like, hey, Wyatt Teller's phenomenal. And I think because of Pro Football Focus, more than anything, his price just skyrocketed. The voicemail made a really interesting point about Jarvis, and I think we all, as Browns followers, need to look at this team this year, and tell me if you agree with this. This team this year, and know that it's going to change in 2022.
Yes.
I think this might be the last run at it with this crew, and I know they have not had a whole lot of runs at it with this crew, but you just said, Dave, they've got a lot of money tied up in Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. Is that what you want to do?
No.
I don't know. You're going to have money tied up in Nick Chubb. You're going to have some money in Kareem Hunt. You're going to pay Baker. You're going to pay Denzel. Myles Garrett's already getting paid. You want to pay Wyatt Teller because why? You want holes for Nick Chubb and Kareem to run through, and you want to protect Baker Mayfield. I would think that maybe at wide receiver, we don't see both of those guys back next year. Take a look at what Pittsburgh has done. They have 3 good young wide receivers, and they brought back Juju after all. In Cincinnati, they had good young wide receivers. What did they do? They went out and drafted another one. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we see some money that maybe gets reallocated in a year or two down the road. And especially, I think Odell has to come back and play really, really well this year. And if not, I would assume that they wouldn't pay him next year. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I think, Andrew Berry made a point of it when he was talking before the draft, before free agency. Every year in the NFL is different, and that's what he means. You're going to have to – the salary cap's going up, but they have so many young players. It's a great problem to have. Browns fans aren't used to this problem. Yeah. We've got so many young players we have to pay that some of the veterans are going to have to be, let go on to greener pastures.
Well, and think about this. All of the additions they made on the defense, well, you got to pay those guys. And they needed the help on the defense. There's no question. So I think maybe this year we get a better look at what Kevin Stefanski's really looking to do on offense. If we didn't see it last year, and Odell coming back to me is the key to that whole thing. What does this look like with Odell in there? What does the offense look like? And is there anybody else on the roster? Is it Higgins? Is it Donovan Peoples-Jones? Is it Schwartz who comes in and makes that step and becomes that guy who maybe replaces Jarvis or Odell? or maybe really solidifies himself as the third wide receiver, and they go out and they sign somebody in free agency, or they go out and they draft a wide receiver next year. You know what? You're not going to be able to. You're just not going to be able to pay everybody, and because you can't pay everybody, you're going to have to make decisions. And in an NFL offense today, though wide receivers are key, you know, look at the teams that have the veteran wide receivers. They're not. There are some that are really, you know, really good, but as these veteran wide receivers are pushing 30, you know, they're moving on to some other teams, you know, and they're choosing not to be paid by the team that originally brought them in or that had them. And I wonder, that's just kind of something that I'm keeping an eye on as we go through this year. And if Jarvis and Odell aren't completely stellar in this offense, as you said, Dave, that's a lot of money to be tied up in 2 wide receivers. So I think just keep an eye on that, because you've got to protect Baker Mayfield. And if you're going to have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, you better have blocking up front for them. And if you do that and you can run the football and Baker is protected, I don't want to say you don't need top-notch upper echelon wide receivers, but maybe you go in a less expensive direction there.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. So the 2 old guys are basically saying it's a young man's game. Jeff Phelps from 92.3 The Fan and I.
Throw yourself into that bus there, Mr.
I said that. You and I, we're old guys. It's a young man's game.
I'm older than you, so thank you.